Hi, and welcome to Healing Conversations, or actually Breakthrough Conversations, but those breakthroughs can be so healing. We're here today with Coach Pete, and I'm Gloria Lybecker. So obviously healing's in my realm here. And so let's start off with when we want to be able to step into some place to begin to experience something new. I find that it's really crucial that the environment feels safe. And the word safe is like a buzzword. It's probably misused and overused way too much. And yet, the experience of when you walk into a room and you can just feel that it's relaxed, or if you walk into a room and all of a sudden you just feel it's like tense. So there's these different experiences that our body has when we come into an environment directly impacts us, even if we're not conscious of it. It directly impacts us. What's your experience around that?
I think it's really interesting, this topic of feeling safe, safety. And I think it's an interesting question. Are you generally a person who feels safe in a variety of situations, of environments? Right? Do you feel safe walking into a room filled with people that you may not know? Maybe it's business, maybe it's a networking group, or maybe it's just some place you haven't been before. Do you feel safe? It's a good question, I think, to ask ourselves and our clients. Do we walk around generally feeling safe in different situations? I think that's a good question, don't you?
I do, and there's different ways that you can ask the question rather than saying the word safe. Do you feel at ease? Do you feel comfortable?
Right.
Different ways of feeling into it. So that it's kind of like trying on a shirt. Does it feel comfortable to you? Does it feel like it's a part of you? Do you feel like you have to be on the defensive? What does come up? Are you even aware of how you feel?
Do you feel comfortable?
Mhm.
Comfortable in a situation, comfortable with yourself in different situations. And I think it's related to what I sometimes call the T word, trust. Because isn't trust at the heart of so much of what we talk about in coaching and just in self-reflection? Isn't trust, doesn't it surface a lot? Can we trust?
Well, yes, especially when people have been conditioned to look outside of themselves for their answers. They look outside of themselves, or they even are conditioned to judge or to blame the environment. And so to trust really needs to be an inside out word. Trust actually grows from within us, but when we have not had that as a model for our life, we may not even realize that's where it needs to be because we've been conditioned to look outside of ourselves instead of within ourselves.
Absolutely. That's critical. Because trust does develop within, and it develops very early. How early does the concept of trust develop in us humans? It's from the very get-go, isn't it? From being a newborn. If you
I
look
would
at a
say it's even before that. I would say it's just in gestation because there is that felt sense that does happen in that environment. And there are studies that do reveal that an infant is impacted by the environment before they're actually out in the environment because they're there, but they're in utero. And everything that happens in their mother's life and in the environment she's in directly impacts the child as well as conditions them for what to anticipate when they come out.
I
And
love
it's
talking with
unconscious.
what's that? I'm sorry.
And it's all unconscious. Those are the basic foundational imprints that really we carry throughout our whole entire life.
I love our conversations because you always take me to a different way of looking at something, which I think is really important. I look at trust as developing, with from birth, but you're absolutely right. It is prior to that. Absolutely. The sounds, the situations going on amongst the host mother,
Yeah.
in her life and what's going on. that comes through to that little developing baby. It's really true. Um, and so we're learning trust from the absolute get-go, even pre-get-go, and so much of that. So then we live our lives, and that's why I think it's important to go back and look at our relationship with trust, our
Mm.
relationship with, feeling safe or trust or comfort. Where do we stand with that? And what affected us early on that affects how we trust today and tomorrow? It's really an important exploration. If a person, if a client, if you as an individual are open to looking at it, and it can be very fruitful.
Yeah, and that's a key thing too. That you need to be, each person needs to be able to give consent. There's no forcing these kinds of conversations. In fact, that would have the adverse effect if there was pressure to do something that somebody doesn't feel ready to do. And so that in itself is what's going to create that container of trust, is by actually being checked in with whether that's an area that a person is interested in going or is willing to go. And they need to have the time to make that decision for themselves. Because many times people don't believe they have choice. They believe they have to do what's expected of them, or they are required to do things because they're supposed to do them. And those all do come from those foundational imprints in our lives.
Absolutely. It's one of the things I love about coaching is there's no, in my opinion, there's no set blueprint of what you do with every client. Every
Mm.
client is unique, every client is different, every client should have the opportunity to choose what they talk about, what they explore, how far back they explore, is it just about today and tomorrow? Totally up to the client. And it's one of the things I love about it. We go where our clients want to go, need to go, feel comfortable or safe or trust. We go back to trust again. Trust of where to go in figuring things out, figuring this what can be a complicated thing we call life and living. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. How does it all fit together? My jigsaw puzzle is very different than yours.
Yeah.
Learn from you. I can, listen and learn, but the puzzle pieces of my life are unique. They're me.
Yeah. And that's what's special about each person, is they are so unique, you
Yes.
know, and as they get to experience themselves through the eyes of another person that values them, you get to witness the transformation of a life, which is just such a gift.
Oh, yes, indeed. It's thrilling. It really is. And one of the things I love, this could be another topic for another talk. I love helping people see the strengths that they have within and that they've always had. They may not have looked at it as strength, but if you've lived a life to any degree, you have strength which got you to today through yesterday and the other day. We have so much strength within us, and it's so exciting to guide people or help people explore that and see what strengths they have to solve what's coming in the future.
Yeah. Well, for them to be able to have their potential recognized. That's what that sounds like to me. And I'd love to have that conversation with you, Pete. Great idea.
Let's do it.